So, well, welcome back to another episode of My Heart on Pages. I am your host, Laquita Parks, and I am the founder, CEO of Pay Pro V Publishing. And Pay Pro V is pain, progress, victory, because I believe without pain, there is no progress, and without progress, there can be no victory. So y'all know me. Y'all know I love helping people take their stories from a thought to a realization, because 100% of everybody living and dead has a story, right? So if you're listening to me, you got a story. Whether you think you got a story or not, you have a story. And it doesn't matter what that story is, you have a story. Now, everybody's story is not a story of tragedy or a story of trials and tribulations. Some people have stories and they put them in the position of a cookbook or a poetry book. But nevertheless, it's your story. And so you should tell your story. Okay. So I'm excited because I have one of my special guests, one of my authors. Oh my goodness, amazing person here with me. And he has done some amazing things. So I'm not going to tell you who he is. I'm going to let him tell you who he is. And y'all forgive me, today, Monday, my tongue is tied, and that's just how it is. Okay. That's how it is. My tongue is tied, and hopefully it'll untie itself before we get finished with this interview. So without further ado, good morning, sir. Wait a minute, y'all. Afternoon. It's morning somewhere. It is morning somewhere. I know in California it's still morning. So, but it's morning, afternoon, evening, good night. How you doing, Mr. Cox?
Hello, Miss Clayton. How's everything?
Other than me being a little bit discombobulated, I'm okay. I'm okay today. So how's it going? Now we were just talking, y'all, before we started recording this, and it is 9 degrees where Mr. Cox is. I'm like, I couldn't live my best life at 9 degrees. I could not do it. So tell the people where you're from and what you do and why you somewhere it's 9 degrees.
Well, my name is Marvis Cox. I live in Chicago, Illinois, born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. And yes, it is 9 degrees. I am actually military veteran, 10 years of service. Well, 4 months shy of 10 years of service. And I am here in my hometown, Chicago, Illinois, as my comeback home to with me and my missus and the kiddos.
Okay, all right. I know your missus and the kiddos. All right. So Marvis, you wrote a book. So let me ask you a question. So I always ask people this. Did you ever, when you were coming up, did you say, okay, I'm going to be a writer. I'm going to be an author. Is this something that you've always wanted to do? Or I have people say, I've been writing since I was 2 years old. I've always known I want to be a writer. Now, that's not my story. That might be your story, but have you always known, or is this something new in this stage of your life?
As far as like, writing, I've had my choice of, great essays here and there and things like that in school.
Mm-hmm.
I used to actually write music and do music for quite some time.
Okay.
When I was, me and my brother, we thought we was going to become rappers, but it didn't pan over, because then it just started turning into something else. If you have to lose your life to do something that passionate about some things, just to get your story out, there's other ways around it. That's what I figured. So,
Yes.
that didn't pan out. But so I end up trying my luck with writing books instead, instead of writing things in the form of music, and just write them in a form of storytelling.
Okay. Now, see, there's this little big part of me that wants to say spit some rhymes, but I'm not gonna put you on the spot. Spit some rhymes. That's too funny. You're gonna be rapper MC.
Yeah, everybody wants to be a rapper, singer,
I know. I love that. It's funny because you get people who say, my baby can sing. my baby can sing. And then when they start singing, you like, your baby can't sing.
Exactly. Exactly.
You should not be, listen, people, you should not be going before Simon Cowell and he's the first person to tell your baby that he or she can't sing. Now,
True.
that's not where they need to hear it from. They don't need to hear it from there.
No, ma'am. No,
That's a
ma'am.
good, that's good what you said though. Everybody want to do that. It's a hard, that's a hard life. And unfortunately we're seeing a lot of that now where all of these rappers are falling. They're succumbing to the life. And from my understanding, some of them are rapping lives that they don't truly live, but they're
Exactly.
playing in the game and they getting, they're getting burned, and it's not good.
Yeah. This
So
is true.
your first book, tell us the name of your first book.
My first book, the name of my first book is called My Box of Chocolates. This is it right here.
Now that's a beautiful book. That
Published
is
by
a beautiful book.
Laquita Parks, a
LB,
great lady, great woman, you
keep
know,
talking. Keep talking.
outstanding, keeps a word, a blessed, anointed lady, you know.
Yes,
We
thank
thank
you.
God that she came into our life to help us go ahead and be able to correct this book because it was something when it first came out.
Listen, it was, you know what, the it's a beautiful book. It is a beautiful book. The writings are beautiful. So what made you name your book My Box of Chocolates?
Well, I thought about the Forrest Gump,
Mhm.
when his mom was like, life is like a box of chocolate. Never know which one you're gonna get.
Mhm.
Just different parts and segments of things that may have happened in my life, or maybe things I remember trinkets of it, you know, um, and little stories that I pretty much processed inside my mind and decided to jot them down and put them on paper.
Mhm. Mhm.
You
So
know,
during when you were writing, there are several poems in there, and they're all very touching. But what was the favorite? Can you share your favorite one? Which was your favorite one? And you don't have to read it if you don't want to, but share the title, and why that was your favorite, and what was the inspiration behind it.
um, if I was to say all of them are my favorite,
I love it.
you know,
Exactly.
I'm the type of person, when I put things on paper, it's the weirdest thing because it's like things that maybe I may have been going through, or
Mhm.
things I may have to face in life about something. So paper is like a relief of an outlet relief, I can put that on paper and now that stain of something won't have to be on me again.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I won't have to carry that on my shoulders anymore. So that's what led me to it. That's what, made me have this freedom of writing things on paper like I do. And then, being bold enough to say, hey, look, let's go ahead and just do the book, you know?
Mhm. 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 So,
Um,
oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, I was gonna say, so as you were writing, what was the inspiration to say, okay, you know what, I'm writing this, let's just go ahead and put it in the book.
Well, me and my wife, at one point in time, I remember we were 2 years into being married, and we was saying to each other that, eventually, we should, what would be cool to do, and I was like, it'd be cool to go ahead and, write our own books or whatever the case and tell stories about our lives. She's like, yeah, yeah, because you got some pretty interesting stuff, and then I got some crazy stuff too. And that should be nice. I said, yeah, and then we should turn them into movies. I mean, how many people are actually, doing things and turning them into movies about some things, because in all naturality, the industry is running out of ideas. A
Mhm.
lot of the stuff that's coming out is,
Trash.
yeah, I didn't want to say it without saying it, but
I
yeah,
say it, trash.
yeah, yeah, garbage. So,
Yes.
it's no more originality anymore, no more creative ideas, and different storyline behind something. Everything is always the same setup. You can pretty much know exactly what it's going to lead into as soon as you start reading to it or watching a movie in 5 minutes. You're like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, well, I've seen a movie just like this before, so
Mhm. Mhm.
kind of resembles the same thing. So just wanted to bring something different to the world.
Yeah,
And that's what we've
sometimes you're
done.
watching and say, "You know what? I watch this already?"
Exactly.
You know, it's so you have so you're military. So tell us about I know you said you served 10 years. And so how did you take your experience being in the military and incorporate some of that into your writings? What's that process like?
Well, I served 4 months shy of 10 years. 4 months shy of 10 years. I know I keep saying that because it was just that close to 10 years. But
Mhm. Mhm.
um when I was able to go ahead and write down some things, first thing that popped inside my mind was different experiences and things like that I had, in the military. A lot of
Mhm.
things, we don't talk about.
Right.
A lot of things we're told, keep that to yourself. That's just classified information, yada yada yada. So you want to not say things, but if you do say something, you say something, but without people knowing exactly who is who and what is what and where is where.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I decided to get bold enough and say, hey, I wonder if I told a story about, or some stories about what was going on with me, in my military service about some things, would it be intriguing enough for people to actually say, hey, you know what? I like that story, or this story is similar to what my story was, but I just didn't have the energy or the courage enough to open my mouth or put it down on paper and let the world see it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So so I wanted to, test that theory out before I start working on, giving my thoughts, my
Mhm.
big
You
thoughts
wanted to
about.
start on something small.
Yes, ma'am.
You want to
Small
test
thoughts.
the waters.
Exactly. Just to see what the crowd's reaction would be,
Mhm. Mhm.
and the reaction, it turned out to be just the reaction I was thinking it was going to be. You
Mhm.
know, it didn't turn out bad at all. It turned out great because a lot of people could understand exactly where I was coming from. They did get the words and the sayings that I was using. You
Mhm.
know, it
Mhm.
brought them right back into that area when they were in the military and when they served as well. So, I was like, well, maybe now I'll start going ahead and working on my third book, which I've been working on, and eventually, God say the same, it'll be out whenever God say the same. It's going to be out.
So let me ask you a question. So and thank you again. Let me thank you publicly. I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Thank you for trusting me to help you and the Mrs. to take your story from a thought to a realization. It was indeed a pleasure working with the both of you. And I'm glad that I was able to help right the wrongs that somebody else did. So, there are times when people life is life, people are people, and for whatever reasons we have good intentions. I like to think most people have good intentions.
Right,
Sometimes they do, and then there are some who don't, but then they don't make it right. So I'm glad that I had a chance to help you guys to produce a better product that you could be proud of, your first piece that you can be proud of. So thank you for trusting me there. And as I was going through and putting together your my box of chocolates and reading it, the poems are beautiful, but there you have some titles of your writings that are very interesting titles. And
yeah,
so like the first one, Dreckler Poor Pay. And
yeah.
so I'm like, what the world?
I know. It was, I didn't want to, give anything to, how you say, to have people to be able to look at something and say, you know what, well, I can kind of figure out right now what this is going to be about. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to say something or put something down on there. So when they look at it, like, just like that reaction you gave me, that's exactly. reaction I was looking for, because they're like, I'm not going to expect for what it's going to actually be talking about
Mhm.
until they start to get into the book.
Right.
And then once they start to get into the book, then now their whole mind concept is going to change, and this
Mhm.
is what's going
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
grab the idea of the reader. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to use my creative geniusness of myself to grab the ideas and things like that in the focus of the reader, by throwing them off and giving them something that's going to have them like, I don't even know what that is, but let's
Right.
see.
Mission accomplished. Because I was like, what? And as I was reading, I was like, is this somebody's name?
Exactly. It was
So
a
that
made
was
up.
good. That was good. Mission accomplished. I enjoyed that. I like the uniqueness of the titles. Just what you said, where your titles, they don't give a full indication of what you're going to be talking about. So in order for you to know and understand, you got to read it. You
Exactly.
can't just say, oh, okay, well, say loyalty. Oh, this is about somebody being loyal.
Right.
Not that way. And so I like how you positioned that.
Yeah.
Out of when I was going through and I was looking through it, I know you have one that says, and listen, guys, we're not gonna give y'all all the information. We're not gonna tell you everything about the book because you're gonna have to go buy the book. Okay, you're gonna have to go to Young Saved Leaders,
Yep.
in the rest of it. Dot
Leader.
Spotify, dot
That,
Shopify.
okay. So
Young
so
Saved Leaders,
young save leaders dot my Spotify.
my Spotify.
Shopify.
Oh,
My
Shopify.
Shopify.
Let me
dot
write it
com.
down. I know it. I don't know why I keep saying Spotify. That's probably because I upload to Spotify. It's
Got
Shopify. Shopify. Listen, y'all, don't get confused. Just keep listening. We'll get it right. Y'all know how we do. Y'all used to us by now. So my Shopify, young
dot com.
state leaders dot my Shopify dot
Dot com. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
com.
Dot com.
Okay.
COM.
Listen, I got the young saved leaders part right.
Yeah, I know. You did good. I know it's a link tree, so and
Yes.
there's going to be a lot of things going on. We try to stay busy and keep a lot of things going, because people in this world, everybody, they have a tend to need something in all different areas. So we're just trying to supply whatever we can supply and grab
Yes. And you
everything.
know, and you know what? I'm going to take a sidebar here, Marvis, and ask you this question because it's what's going on right now, and I know it has tugged at my heart. And I'm curious to know your thoughts about this. The Memphis situation going on with the
Yeah.
police officers. What are your thoughts on that? And you can share if you don't want to share. That's fine too.
Well, my thoughts is ridiculous. That's what
Yeah.
my thoughts is. It's ridiculous. It's pathetic, and also is this. I mean, this is something that's been going on for quite some time. Uh, I'm not trying to steal anybody's, light about anything, but when I was growing up, police officers used to beat us up all the time, when we would be walking home from school, or walking home from playing basketball, they'll snatch us up or whatever the case and, threaten us about things. If we looked at them wrong or, give them the attitude that we dislike them, they just give them that opportunity to want to cause harm to you, We had a guy when I was going to grammar school. I got a police officer by the name of RoboCop, and everybody was terrified of this guy, because he would just snatch teenagers and kids, guys, women, or whatever the case, walking up and down the street, and pretty much try to do whatever he wanted to them, because he had been doing it for so long, he's never been caught, So if he ever has to pull you over, it's about to probably be a bad day. So now they're just sharing and shedding light on a lot of these things that's probably been occurring for quite some time. Because there's no way that those guys would be comfortable in their own skin doing the things that they did to that young man,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they hadn't been doing it for quite some time beforehand. That's
Yeah.
how you see
Yeah.
the comfort that they have gotten over the probably years that they've probably been doing it for other individuals. So,
Yeah.
I just thank God that they was finally caught, and their actions was caught as well, to actually shed some light on what's really going on, and hopefully they'll be able to, put the action forth for them to go ahead and get the sentencing that they need, They
Yeah.
need to be off the street because they are a menace to society.
Yeah, I agree. Ridiculous is the same thing you said, and I just felt I my heart goes out to the family, and it was just none. It was just there was no reason for it, no
Yeah,
reason. And as I watched it, I never watched the George Floyd. I never watched that one, but I
yeah,
watched this one. As I watched it, and I and if I didn't know what I was watching, I would have thought I was watching a movie with a bunch of street thugs, just picking on a person. They're
that's
kicking him and taking a baton and beating him, pull him up, and that's some thugged out stuff you see on movies. And
yeah,
I thought, what the world? And they're high-fiving each other, and they standing around smoking cigarettes. And I said, what in the world? These are police officers. They are sworn. They took an oath to protect and serve. And so, unfortunately, the family has to go through this, but it's also time to uncover that which is covered.
this is true. It was
We have this
one.
thing here called the Red Dog. We used to in Atlanta called the Red Dog. And they were menaces too. They were known, and all of them, let me just preference, all of them are not bad. All police officers are not bad, but it's those
No,
little ones, those
yeah,
those situations like this that give a bad
yeah,
name
yeah.
to the uniform.
Yeah, those few bad apples, they're gonna always, spoil the bunch, and that's how it goes, and yeah, you are correct. Just like you said, all police officers are not bad. There are some good police officers out there, but when you're surrounded by so much corrupt and so much disgust about things, it's just a matter of time before either you are seen the same way, or either some of that stuff rubs off on you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's become like second nature. What they say, you are what you're around.
Mm-hmm.
Or what you
Mm-hmm.
grew up around, and so on and so forth. So it was
Wow.
at one point in time the guy said something about, in words as, I was hitting the guy with haymakers, and he was still standing up or something like that. And I was just like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's horrible.
How,
So you were military, and I know on the other end of the spectrum, I've heard you participated, and again, thank you for participating in the Veterans Project Unknown Battlefields. And we'll talk a little bit about this, but we're going to do a special something with the Unknown Battlefields. But thank you again too for submitting your story in
no problem.
Unknown Battlefields. And I think I mentioned this before. Every book has a soul, especially when you do an anthology where there are many different people, and every book has a soul. This would be the second project. The first project, the soul of that book was done by David Donald Douglas, and it was an amazing piece. It just pulled at my heartstrings. And your story did the same thing in Unknown Battlefield. So your story was the soul of the story, the soul of the book. And
Yes, man.
so how, as we just finished talking about what's going on in Memphis, where the officers killed this black guy. um 5 black police officers have been fired, and they're being brought up on charges too for murder. um in the military, yeah, I've talked to a lot of people and heard the story. There's a story of racism. There's a story of especially women where they've been sexually assaulted, and there too is another situation where people are hiding behind the uniform. And so as an officer in the military, I'm sure you saw a lot of disparities going on. How were you able to keep your focus, and what your focus and perspective was while you were there? Because it's a job too, but you're serving your country. So
This
how did you manage to do that?
Well, my faith in God, and doing the right thing is was always kept me grounded. Throughout my day to day living. Period. So, me being the person that I am, I can't compromise my integrity about things just because this is over here this way and this is over here that way.
Mm-hmm.
But if I see something wrong, it's my duty to at least try to do something about it. That's your job. That's every soldier's job. That's the reason why we're all under the same title as United States soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you see something wrong, it's your duty, it's your right to report that information and to see if you can get something done by it, regardless of whatever the outcome is going to be and whatever type of backlash that you may have to face.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
owe it to yourself, you owe it to your fellow soldiers and the future to come. So, we would just try to do the best that you can to try to fix that issue and stay grounded and teach others the correct way instead of the wrong way, because there's a lot of people that's teaching the wrong way, but it's up to you to go ahead and teach the right way, to balance that all out, and hopefully God say the same, phase it out to the point where it doesn't even exist anymore. So that's what I did.
Govern yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Govern yourself. I really like that. I appreciate that, because everybody didn't have that. If we all govern ourselves and did that which we know to be right, then we won't have all of this foolishness that's going on now, because we're destroying lives. It's just hurting so many. I know I don't know them. I don't know any of them. But when I watched it, I kept thinking, and you can't help but think and pray, it could have been my son.
Yeah.
It could have
Yeah.
been my son every time. It could have been my son, it could have been my nephew, it could have been my friend's son, or somebody that I knew.
Brother
So
or
I don't
something.
want to even be in the
Yeah.
place of them.
Yeah. It's just it's sad that that's what's going on in a society right now, in this earth and in this world about some things. There's so much going on that try to keep people to walk in fear, and I just refuse to live that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna allow that to be the reason why I have to drive a certain type of car, or the reason why I can only go into a certain type of neighborhood, or the reason why I can walk up the street about somewhere, or the reason why I can only shop in this area about some things because of another person's, bad juju about some things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's something they're gonna have to deal with. I pray and I give my glory to God about things through good and bad. And but I'm not gonna sit up here and walk in fear. I done done too much to get back to this place. There's no
Yeah.
way, you know, no way.
Yes,
You
I
know,
like that.
and
Oh, go ahead.
I try to teach my kids the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I try to teach them the same way. Stay prayed up about some things. You can't just talk about it. You got to actually be about it. You got to put the work in order to get the blessings in return. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if you're going
Mm-hmm.
to follow the same directions, if I'm following these ways, you have to go ahead and make sure that you're doing what I'm doing as well, and so you can stay comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I do, and that's how I see it. That's how I've been doing.
Keep doing it. And you know what, and I applaud people, I applaud men, because there are so many men who take the back road. It's
Mm,
not my problem, even with their own children, even with their own families. Not my problem, not my situation. It's more about me. It's me, how I feel, what I'm going through, and not
mm,
about the children. And here's the thing: as we grow older, we get older, they're coming up. So if they've not been trained, or if they've not been given those values and morals, and instilled what you're instilling in your children and your sons, then we get a whole lot more of what we saw with these police officers wearing these uniforms and using their badge with arrogance to abuse and take advantage of those that they're supposed to be protecting and serving. So
yes, ma'am.
I applaud you. I applaud you. Let's talk about something in when I was putting together your poems, your book. There was one called Brother Marvin. And so as I was reading And I said, okay, is this his brother? But then you get down to the end of the poem. Now, tell me what's Brother Marvin? What was the inspiration behind Brother Marvin? And is Brother Marvin about your brother named Marvin, or is Brother Marvin the name of that? Is that coming from my good friend Marvin Gaye?
No, that's my it's more so like now. Okay, when I was younger, of course, a lot of poems that I have down is about how my life used to be when I was younger, yada yada yada, before I got myself changed around and got saved and so on and so forth. And at that time, I just remember Marvin Gaye a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when I was coming up and when I was young, I would always listen to or we would my family would be listening to Marvin Gaye about some things, or Al Green and so on and so forth, yada
Mm-hmm.
yada.
Y'all don't
But
know nothing about that. Y'all don't know nothing about Marvin Gaye and
right,
Al Green. Y'all don't know nothing. Y'all don't know it. Y'all don't know it. They ain't ready, Marvis. They not ready.
right. So when I think about young young guys, when I was coming up about things, running through the streets about things about here and there, just day-to-day living period, I just would think about the music of Marvin Gaye. His music is always play inside my mind over and over again. His music got me through a whole lot of deployments too, so but that brother Marvin, that's what it basic was based off of. It was based off of Marvin Gaye,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but the storyline behind it was pretty much based about like my life when I was growing up
Mm-hmm.
younger
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. So I just slapped two and two together, and
It makes sense.
yeah,
It does make sense. I like it. And as I was reading it, and I was like, okay, you know what? That does have that brother.
right,
I
exactly,
that had what's going on. That
right,
it had
exactly,
that feel
exactly.
to it. It has that
Right,
feel to it. So I like that. I got a little tickled. I said, okay now, because it's like, what's going on? We got taxes, death, trouble. We're not telling y'all the whole song or the whole story. So,
yes,
but
ma'am.
it does have that what's going on feel to it. I like that. So so Marvis, how can people get in contact with you if they want to get in contact? We know if they want to purchase a book, you guys can go to youngsavedleaders.myshopify.com. I
Yep.
said it right.
Yes, ma'am.
youngsavedleaders.myshopify.com
Yes,
and
ma'am.
order your copy of My Box of Chocolates from Mr. Marvis Cox. Now, if they order it through you, will they get an autographed copy?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. They will get an autographed copy, and they also will get a chance to win a one night stay and one night stay. What is it again?
One night stay
Okay,
at Westgate Resort.
a one night stay at Westgate Resorts.
Okay. All right. See, a bonus with the bonus. Now, wait, I'm trying to think. Did I get my autograph copy already? Did I get
Yes, ma'am.
my autograph
Yes, ma'am.
copy? I did.
Yes.
Now I know I'm gonna have to do a sneak peek. Now I know I got the autograph copy of It Can't Always Be Night. This is a shameless plug, y'all. There's no shame in the plug because this is his wife. This is his wife, y'all. So I know
Yep.
I got my autograph copy. I just have to check and make sure that I got my box of chocolates autograph copy. I just happen to have her sitting right here because we was on her show last night.
Really. This is something else. I'm hearing different information, in the background. I'm gonna definitely
So I did
touch that.
not. I didn't
Yeah,
think I received my autograph copy, but
that,
I was
that is something.
all right, all right.
That
I didn't
is
think I
something.
received it. So we
Because
can write that wrong. We can write the
yes,
wrong.
ma'am.
It's all right.
We definitely gonna write that wrong. I could have sworn we got that. That was the first.
I know. I was like, okay, see if I get my
Don't
fucking
worry, we
copy.
gonna get you taken care of. That's
Awesome,
for sure.
awesome. I appreciate that. So, what's next for you, Marvis? What's? I know you're working on two more books you got coming out. What's next? Can you give us a little hint about book number 2?
Well, the next book would be I was about to say It Can't Always Be Night, but that's not it. Nah,
That was
yeah,
that's gonna be interesting. That would be the his and her
nah,
version. I love it.
nah, it's gonna be Death is a Release and Pain is Forever.
Death
That's the name.
is a release and pain is forever. Oh wow, I can't wait to see that. You
Yeah,
know, guys, listen, go and follow. And how can they reach you, Marvis? How can they get in touch with you?
they can
Social
reach me.
media.
They can reach me on Facebook,
Okay. All right, under Marvis Cox.
Marvis Cox, yes,
Okay, awesome, awesome.
or Young Saved Leaders.
Yes, yeah. Listen, go to Young Save Leaders. They have a lot to offer. They have the apparel, they have the books. Also, you can also order Unknown Battlefields on their website too. You can
Yes,
also connect with shows with some coaching and development that they're doing. Listen, this is a power couple. So if you're listening and you want to talk to these two amazing people, Jacqueline Cox, and I know she'll stick her head in the camera.
no,
Jacqueline Cox and Mr. Marvis Cox. We hear a voice. That's good enough. We hear her voice in the background. I'm sure she's beautiful, but she probably thinks she's not beautiful. She's beautiful.
this lady's something. That's all I can say.
Right. So you heard it from her husband. He said she's something, y'all. And I'm here. I'm telling you, yes, she is too. She is. She is an amazing person. So
Yes, she is.
visit youngsavedleaders.com. No, youngsavedleaders.myshopify.com to do all things purchases. Okay.
Yeah.
Your books, you got your my box of chocolates. And when do you think the next book is going to be coming out? Can we look for it around like the springtime or something?
God said the same. I'm hoping that it will be around that time. I just got, you get caught up doing so much,
Yes,
you know,
I understand that.
and then, I wanna better, myself as I, bring out other projects and things,
Mhm, mhm,
So,
mhm,
I wanna make sure that I got the story correct. And a lot of my stories, majority of my stories, probably about 90% of them,
mhm,
probably about 97% of them, are all true stories.
mhm, mhm.
It's not too many that's false. All my poems, 9 times out of 10, are true stories.
Mhm.
It may be some things that's made up stories. Of course, the Teddy Ruxpin story thing is, of course, it's fairy tale. I just
That's cute. It's cute. Now that's quite a spin because when I'm reading, I kind of walk through and go through the story as if I'm there, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Because it's funny because I'm here, like I'm in the house by myself, and
Mhm.
sometimes I hear noise like, what's that?
Exactly.
What was that? Was that the
Or
ice maker? And then you
missing.
go and see, like I was in the room and I heard something and I went into the bathroom and out of nowhere, my blinds in my bathroom just fell to the floor.
Oh wow.
I mean, there was absolutely, have not touched them. They just fell to the floor. And I'm like, what in the world? And
Hmm.
so you just kind of look and turn around and look around and say, okay, well, let me hang them back up. And maybe it was just, maybe the house shifted or something,
Yeah.
so that was a cute story. So Marvis, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Time goes by so fast when you're having fun. It's always a
Yes, ma'am.
pleasure. So when we do our next episode, when we talk about we're going to do something special with the Veterans Project, and I want to invite you to come back and
Okay.
talk more about your piece and why sharing the stories of veterans is so important.
Okay.
So we're going to invite you back to talk about that. But in the meantime and in between time, support the Cox family and what they're doing. Support those babies. Support. I listen. Mama Cox even got a song. She got a soundtrack.
Yes, ma'am.
She's a singer, y'all. She is,
Yeah.
I mean, amazing, amazing. So if you go to youngsavedleaders.com, and they can go to youngsavedleaders.com and still find you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if you go to youngsaveleaders.com, you can order some of the apparel for them babies.
Yeah.
Listen, I have something over there. I was going to hold it up and show it to them. But listen, it has been a pleasure, Marvis. I know that you got a lot going on. You got your family there. And thank you so much for your service and for all that you do. And I know it's not an easy job keeping Mrs. Cox grounded.
No, it's
I
not.
know it's not an easy job. I know somebody got to do it though. We glad
Yes,
that you answered the call. So
yes, ma'am.
thank you so much for answering the call.
Oh my God.
Get
But
these grades,
listen, guys, it has
taken
been
care of.
look, I see some gray. I didn't see them there last week. They keep
No, they was.
they coming. It's a Jacqueline and Jacqueline. Yeah, we just joking, y'all. She's a lovely person. She really is. And catch her on Listen Linda on Sunday nights at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Okay. So listen, if you have a story, and I know that you do, because 100% of everybody living and dead has a story, we can help you take that story from a thought to a realization. If you've written a story and you want to promote your story and you want to talk about it, so join us, connect with me, leave a message at payperviewpublishing.com, and we can talk about your why on pages, your heart on pages. So listen, it has been a plump, pleasing pleasure. Better than a triple-decker peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you so much, Mr. Cox, for your time. We appreciate you. We thank you for everything that you do. And until next time, guys, have a great day. Be good. Treat somebody right. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.